Hello, PPL. Ashton Akai here, and welcome to your Division 1 power rankings for this season. But I'm not going to be alone in my endeavors to hopefully fairly rank the teams as we go along. I'm joined by a good friend of mine, fan of EVs and fast bug types.
Wow. Nice and burned. Cheers, man.
Say hi, Frito.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Right, so before we get started, just a couple of things to address. Firstly, of course, these are our opinions. We're just looking at the drafts as they turned out, trying to keep kind of knowledge of some of the coaches, keep knowledge of the coaches out of it, because, obviously we are just looking at the drafts. So, this is
we're just gonna rank the teams based on the Pokemon and how they fit together.
Right.
We're not taking the coaches' skills into account because it's a post-draft ranking.
Right. So if you happen to look at this and think that you are lower than you should be, or maybe even higher than you should be, deal with it this week once you guys start playing games and we have actual performances to discuss. Then it will all work itself out. But because, I think Frito will agree with me here, there are a lot of drafts that were almost impossible to separate, and
Yes.
there were definitely going to be times, especially later on in these power rankings, where I get a little nitpicky because there is just absolutely nothing to divide the team. So it was like I was, looking for any little thing which I could kind of pick on to help me make those decisions.
It does get very, very tough later on.
It does. There are some very strong drafts.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in then, I guess. At number 12, I think we're in agreement.
I think that's a good place to start. Yeah.
So probably not good to start with number 1, because
No.
So at number 12, I've got RTK.
And so do I.
Of the where did my
Portland Timbers.
Portland Timbers? That's right. Yeah, I needed to move the spreadsheet. So his team, I didn't pay as close enough attention to the games as I probably should have last season, but I've heard that RTK is one of those that I definitely I feel kind of bad putting in this low, but just looking at the draft, he's got some strong individual Pokemon, but things like Melodic, which everybody knows I'm a big fan of, Rotom Heat, which I've had got some good use out of in the past, but I think his hazard control that he's picked up, especially with things like Rotom Heat and like Mandibuzz and Scyther, is a little bit less than ideal, just because Donphan isn't a fan of lots of passive damage, and of course Mandibuzz is weak to rocks.
Yeah.
His team also on the whole doesn't really like Fairy, just because I think his only resist is Rotom Heat, and that doesn't have the greatest of reliable recovery, so that's definitely something to watch out for.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
And the final little point was that, although he's got a lot of really good kind of defensive mons here and things that can play both roles, his team isn't filled with a lot of his biggest kind of the hard hitters that which jump out are that kind of want to be hard hitters are Bisharp and Gardevoir. So It's like it feels like he's going to have to try to surprise people every week, and that can be difficult, especially as the season goes on.
Yeah, and I don't think he's really got the Pokemon that allow him to go for the surprise factor, because they tend to do certain things well.
Yeah.
And what he's got, they're not ones that you can run crazy things on to really throw your opponent off. Like the Melodic, the biggest thing you're going to be able to pull off is Mirror Coat and competitive over Marvel scale, and that basically draws the line with everything you can do that is not often seen with Melodic.
Yeah, Shaman can obviously be offensive or defensive. Rotom Heat can again be kind of offense or defensive, but neither of them are they're not the kind of, when you start looking at threats in draft, they're not the first things that jump out at you.
No. But yeah, his team as a whole, it just feels like he went through every round and was like, I just want to get that now, without looking at the team overall. He was just like, oh, that looks good right now, and that looks good, that's still available, I'll take that, without looking at the general synergy.
Yeah, and he's ended up as a result with some decent cores. Just, I don't know, the team as a whole has kind of, just for me personally, is a little bit, I guess, lackluster.
Yeah, and it's worth picking up as well that outside of Donphan, his only other rock sector is Bishop.
Yeah, and Bishop is not a mon that you want to be running rocks on.
No, you need that extra move for it to be offensive.
Exactly, so it's just, he kind of needs to be surprising people, and then he's got, because of his selections, he's got some things which are going to be locked into roles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, so on to number 11, and I think we differ here.
We do.
Yeah, so
do you want to do yours first?
yeah, I will start first. I have got Unlawful Exile of West Chan United. Now, this team, you know, it started really, really strong. I mean, those first 4 picks, Mew, Mega Venusaur, Mamoswine, Staraptor. I mean, he's ended up with 2, you know, Mew, which the draft Pokemon can do anything. Mega Venusaur, the thing which, I mean, I know you've come up against it a couple of times and not enjoyed it. I think nobody probably enjoys coming up against it because it is a pain to take down. And then Mamoswine and Staraptor, who just destroy souls. He's then gone and picked up Vaporeon, which goes well with Mega Venusaur, so, you know, all is pretty good there, but then it kind of starts to taper off a little bit for me. The multiple psychic types, well, yeah, two psychic types and 1 ghost type, so 3 dark weaknesses, could potentially be an issue because he's only got that 1 resist, like in Hitmonchan.
Yeah, the only things he has there to take a knockoff are Hitmonchan and Mega Venusaur.
Exactly, so he's going to be kind of limited in that sense. And I think, as much as I said, you know, Mew is a great first-round pick, I don't think he's got the team to really support it. Looking at the team structure, you know, he's got limited hazard control. I think Rapid Spin Hitmonchan and Defog Staraptor, and then Defog Mew. So 2 of those, I mean, Hitmonchan can be bulky with Rapid Spin, I've done it, but then you have Staraptor, who doesn't really want to be running, you know, Defog, and then Mew. So it's like, it feels like it's going to be locked into a defensive or support role a lot of the time, which is not what the situation you want to be in with Mew.
Yeah, I completely agree, but I've got him a bit higher, so I'm going to leave it until I get to him to say what I've got to say.
Cool. Now, who have you got at number 11?
I have Kelly, under the radar coach of the Baltimore Braveries. His team is just fat, and like, it's the only reason I've got him solo. I know Kelly likes his fat, but it's purely fat that he's drafted, with the exception of some like really frail Pokemon in Infernape and Mega Manectric. The only Pokemon he has out of his like fat Pokemon that is able to take a hit and then deal a hard hit back is Reuniclus. The rest are mainly setup fodder, or are just like support mons, and that's all they can do. Mega Manectric is a great Mega Pokemon. It's good in draft, but it does the one thing it does, and it does that very well, and it can't do anything else. Like, you know, it just Volt Switches around basically and drops a T-Bolt when it can. It doesn't get much coverage, and I don't think his team is built to allow Mega Manectric and Infernape to do what they need to do, because they're quite frail. He's going to have to constantly like have his prediction game on point to get into those. Fair enough, he can Volt Switch and U-turn with those 2, but that's basically his only offensive momentum, and then he's going to lose all momentum outside of that.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quite a bulky team. I've got him a little bit higher up, and I'll kind of discuss that why. But that probably comes down to personal preference more than anything else, because as everyone knows, I like my bulk.
You do. You really, really do.
Yeah, I mean, that Kelly's team resembles something that, you know, I might actually draft sometimes.
Yeah, it's worth noting that Kelly loves his fat, and that's probably why he's done it, but it's just, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and just keep in mind, you know, Kelly is another one of those that I think me and Frito both know, not only does he like his fat, but that he knows how to use his fat, but because we're drafting based on just the mons that we see in front of us and not who's using the team, or not drafting, what am I talking about? We're ranking them based on just the mons in the team and not who's using it. That's probably why, part of why I imagine Frito's got him where he does and why I don't have him higher than I do.
Yeah, like literally the only reason you've got him higher than me is because that draft looks better to you because you like fat things.
It's pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's a draft which looks good, better to me than it does to you, so I have a little higher than you do. It's really just down to that.
Yeah. But we can go on to number 10 now.
Yep.
Which we agree on.
We do.
Don't we?
I think because I've got Necro Stevo.
And I do too.
Yeah, cool. So I guess I'll start off.
Yeah.
So Necro Stevo, his first two picks are awesome. I love the Clefable Scizor, and then he's managed to snag Zygarde late on in the draft. But the rest of the team, it's one of the. I looked at it, and it's again, it doesn't like. He's got a pretty nasty fire weakness in the Scizor Mega Abomasnow, and then he's got stuff like Chandelure, stuff like Slowking, and stuff like Rotom that take those hits. But then he's managed to, I think, lose. Like, had he kind of continued along the vein of the first two picks, he was pretty. He was building something pretty nice there, but it's just kind of.
Yeah.
It feels like he's kind of he's lost a little bit of that synergy.
Yeah, he tried to overcompensate for his two 4x Fire Weak Mons with Chandelure, Slowking, Zygarde, and Rotom Wash.
Yeah.
He just got a bit locked into, oh, I've got this massive Fire Weakness, let me fix that.
Yeah.
And then he carried on trying to fix it.
Yeah. I mean, he's ended up with a solid Fairy Steel Dragon Core, but he's outside of that, I'm not sure what I think about Mega Abomasnow on that team. I've never actually seen it, I don't think, in draft before. So it'll be interesting to see it used. But
yeah,
if he was going to take it, it would have been interesting to see him maybe take something else which kind of could potentially abuse the hail. It doesn't fit great on that team for me. I mean, he doesn't really even have... I mean, he's got Slowking who can set up Trick Room, but
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, he could have really done with like a stronger Trick Room team if you're drafting Mega Abomasnow.
But I mean, he's even got the likes of Scizor, who is slow enough to he could work like a Bandit set in Trick Room and do some fun things. So I mean,
yeah,
he could have gone that way, but I don't know, he's got a couple of things that sort of limit his options. With the likes of Chandelure and Mega Abomasnow on the team, his only hazard removal is Scizor, isn't it?
Zatu.
Zatu. Oh yeah, Zatu. But I mean, Zatu not being the bulkiest or most reliable defogger out there, he's going to be again kind of some of his mons. I feel like will be locked into specific sorts of roles.
Yeah, like I drafted Zatu in TBU this season, and I literally couldn't find a reason to bring it.
Yeah.
Even though I needed it for defog, I was just like, I don't want to bring it for the other options it has.
Yeah, and I mean, like, things like taking that Rotom Wash there. I mean, getting it that late is a steal, but he already had a pretty solid bulky water in the form of Slowking, so I don't know. Like,
he needed the electric type as well.
He needed the electric type, but I don't know. Looking at the draft, kind of as it's finished up, it's a little bit meh.
Yeah, definitely.
But like the others, we'll see how Necro uses it in the games to come.
Yeah, I think he did well to get Clef first round well,
definitely.
Because it is the best fairy in format.
And coming from someone who likes Sylveon as much as you do, I mean, that's a compliment. Sylveon's
my favorite, but Clef's the best. Shoddy will enjoy listening to that.
He will. He'll definitely enjoy that. What he won't enjoy is what's coming next.
Oh,
so
nice segue.
Since we both agree on Stevo, let's head over to number 9. I think we actually have the same 8 and 9, just switched around.
Yeah, they're flipped, so we can talk about them both at the same time if you want. Make it easier.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that. So yeah, I've got Shoddy at number 9, and then
I've got him at number 8.
Yeah. So Shoddy's team. Looking at it, it's a very shoddy team. I can tell. I know that a lot of these are mons which he's used in the past, which he enjoys using. I know from his team analysis, he was excited to get a number of them, and I think he's definitely going to be moving up, and I really want to move him up. But overall, this was a team for me that, I don't know, like Manaphy is an excellent mon in draft.
Yeah.
I've used it before. It just can eat teams alive. Crobat is an excellent defogger and does a lot of cool things in draft, but it just kind of, I don't know. It's like I looked at the team, and the first thing that came to my mind was, well, yeah, this is kind of a shoddy team. But overall, the team as a whole, I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, he's got most of his stuff covered, but it just doesn't. Nothing really stands out, I guess.
I see where you're coming from.
My whole impression of the team was kind of eh. But what did you think of it?
It's pretty much everything you've said. Like, it's Shoddy's dream list of Pokemon from the way Shoddy speaks about certain Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, he got his Manaphy. I know he loves Crobat. I think it went a bit too early. But at the same time, I know he had to go... Like, he had the wheel pick there.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have been able to get back round to it until, like, round 3 or 4.
Exactly.
Which it most probably would have gone by then. So you can understand why he took it there. But he got Aromatisse, which is great. And then he's got Mega Lopunny, which I know is his favorite Mega. It's one of my favorite Megas as well.
Yeah.
He's got an overall good team. It's like you look at it, it's like, oh, that team's pretty decent, and then you can't really say anything outside of that.
Yeah.
I've seen some calcs, like since Shoddy drafted it, he showed me some calcs, and he talked about a couple of things with me, and I've seen some other stuff from him. But like just looking at the team as it stands without taking all that into account, it's just very, okay.
Yeah, I
Nice,
mean,
Shoddy, you got some things you wanted. Well done.
yeah, definitely. Pretty much.
Basically
I mean, that was more or less my impression of it as well. I mean, things like Thunderous Tea and Druddigon, if you like, I could definitely see them doing work, but this is another team where, you know, once he starts actually using it and hopefully winning games, you know, please win games and allow us to move you up.
Oh, he's going to. I don't like having Shoddy this low.
I don't either. I detest having him this low, but
Yeah.
you know, based solely on the team, had to do it.
Yeah. He's just got to get good to go up.
Basically, he just needs to get good.
Yeah.
So
You've got Onezy Bayonet
Yep.
in 8, and I've got him in 9.
Yep. So I guess you want to talk first, and then yeah, we'll see how much I agree.
Yeah, I'm just getting back to his team because I was on Shoddy's, and it's on the other end of the spreadsheet.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so he started the draft like incredibly well. Like Victini, Mega Sableye, Zapdos. Hello, well done in those first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
It's hard to get better than that. You've got your offensive option sorted straight away in Victini. You've got your defensive annoying option in Mega Sableye, and then you've got Zapdos, who is like, I can be offensive or defensive. I can do a lot of things and I can do them well. I can run a number of different spreads. And then after that, it just goes downhill.
Yeah.
Like he gets the Scavalier next, and the Scavalier is great. But like, you know, it's quite different from the way he went with the first 3.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then Marowak round 5, I think that was way too early if he wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, Marowak is not a bad Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination, especially if you've got Trick Room for it. But
yeah,
like to take it in round 5 when, you know, stuff like Reuniclus and Tyrantrum were going.
Yeah,
it's too early.
You compare it to everything else, and it's just a bit.
Yeah.
You could have waited a few more turns.
Yeah, because I mean that's. Unless somebody like messaged you and said, unless you take Marowak this round because I know you want it, I'm gonna snipe it from you this round. I don't see a need to take it so early.
Yeah, he did manage to pick up Kyurem later on.
Oh yeah, who is a massive threat in this format, as we've seen.
Yeah, Kyurem's incredible. Just go check out Season 1 TBU with N Zodiac if you want to see it. Plug.
He kind of destroyed a few people. There's another Enzo Pokemon actually on his team there, a few spaces up above.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, but he's got some really good Pokemon there. It's just, I think if he'd carried on along the lines of the first 3 and the Kyurem pick, then he would have been a lot better off. Maybe if he hadn't picked as many Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it was a rule this season, but everyone has used their budget up. And I know they didn't last season. Yeah. So I don't know if they've been forced to use their budget this season.
I'm not sure either. I mean, I think I had a glance at the rules, but I don't remember seeing that they were actually forced to. But even so, you know, he's definitely got some picks there where he maybe could have taken 1 Mon instead of 2 and gotten a little bit more for the value.
Definitely. But I think he's got a strong enough team in like the 4 that we've singled out as being good to do a lot with.
Oh, definitely.
It's just the rest of them I'm not entirely sure how they're gonna do for him.
Yeah, that's more or less kind of my thoughts there, my opinion of it. Like he's got a number of strong selections mixed in with some that just feel like they're either kind of they don't really fit along the same lines, or they were a little bit early, but that I think he's got enough there that, you know, this is another team which probably will move up.
Yeah, he's going to. He's a good battler.
Oh yeah.
But again, we're not taking the battler into account.
Exactly. So yeah.
Yeah. we have different number 7s.
We do. I'll talk about my number 7 because I actually have Kelly here next.
Cool.
So, as Frito's kind of pointed out down below, I mean, look when you first look at Kelly's team, he definitely has some bulk that doesn't really, it definitely, if not played correctly, can be, it's definitely set up fodder. It's, momentum kills, things like Alamamola, who, can take hits for days, but don't do a lot back. Amungus, who, other than kind of Spore, doesn't do a lot back. But from kind of my point of view of being someone who likes sort of bulk, my only real kind of, I guess, issue is, I mean, aside from, as we said, it's a little bit on the passive side, but he's got kind of bulk and then frail things, and then bulk and then frail things, and that's, like, as you said, he's gonna have to have his prediction hat on to use them effectively, because, I mean, like, my drafts in the past, I've had situations where I was kind of stuck in frail and fat, and it's always kind of a struggle. I mean, generally what you want to see is stuff along the lines of, like, your Garchomps that are bulky enough to be able to kind of switch into things on a team like that. But then again, like, I can kind of see what Kelly was probably planning with it, and I mean, he's got threats that, he's picked up a lot of threats: Infernape, Azumarill, Mega Manectric, Persian. I've seen a lot of calcs with Persian, and that thing is going to be scary. I think Reuniclus, Flygon can even do things. And I've even,
despite what people say about Flygon,
I mean, I've even seen Offensive Melting do things. But like, it's a team that he's going to have to play well in order to use it effectively.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Infernape is one of the best Pokemon in draft format, in my own opinion. So he's got a lot he can do with it, but I think it doesn't fit the team. The only other thing, and I've just kind of spotted it, is he's got bulk combined with rather limited hazard control. So Defog, Flygon, and Rapid Spin Fortress. Flygon not being the most reliable, and then Fortress, he doesn't like passive damage, so that's going to be a bit of a struggle for him. Oh, enjoy hazard stat, Kelly.
Yeah, he's not going to enjoy that at all.
No.
I mean, hopefully he shows us that he does know how to use this draft, and I want to be moving him up as well, but I couldn't really put him any higher than I have.
Yeah, fair enough. So your number 7 was flipped with my number 11, and my number 7 is flipped with your number 11.
Yeah, to see where...
Because I have Liam,
we didn't
Unlawful
arrange this,
Exile.
guys, I promise.
No, completely by accident. That sounded way more sarcastic than I meant it to. I'm ill, so I sound worse than I usually do. So his team, he started off really well. Mew, Mega Venusaur. He's got some other good Pokemon, like you've already pointed out. I'm not going to go back through them. And the draft analysis with Ethan and Baby Powder, we'll go more into detail about everybody's draft, so that's why we're being quite brief and quick with the Pokemon. But he's got things that are going to literally just rip holes through teams in Staraptor. He's got a good core, like you said, in Mega Venusaur and Vaporeon. And then he's got Mew, which Mew is an amazing Pokemon in draft. No one can deny that. But you've got to have some big balls to try and take on Mew. Because each week you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, oh, Mew can do like a bajillion things for me this week. But which one of those things do I do? Like, it gives people headaches. People trade it away purely because of the headache they've had trying to plan with Mew. But then you look at his entire draft, and what he's done with Mew is what a lot of people end up doing, and is typecast it in the role of defensive support.
Yeah.
He's going to struggle to not bring that each week and try and do something creative with it, because like you've already pointed out, his hazard removal options, those, like, Staraptor does not want to run Defog. Hitmonchan can run Rapid Spin, but if someone's got like a Ghost team, then it's pointless. So you're going to need Mew to Defog, because people are going to be wanting to set up a lot of hazards against you as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think maybe he could have changed his team up a little bit later on to accommodate Mew more, but it's the same thing you say to everybody that ends up drafting Mew. Well, not everybody, but like mostly everybody, is you've got it stuck in one role, and that's not what Mew's for. And I also think that if he'd got a dragon on this team, then it would have been much, much better.
Oh yeah, a dragon actually would be a nice addition, maybe in place of one of his 3 dark weaknesses.
Yeah, like I think Neuven didn't get drafted.
See, that would actually be that would be a sound pickup.
Yeah, but I think all the other good dragons did get drafted. It's just Neuven that didn't, maybe. But yeah, that's all I got to say on him, really. It's a good team to start with, but I think he's typecast Mew.
Yeah, and I think, of course, important to remember as well, I think this is his... I want to say he doesn't, like, he hasn't had, like, this is one of his first, or whatever.
It is his
first draft, so actually, he's done very, very well. You know, draft, I think I experienced this when I came in my first experience in draft, is that it's very, very tough to actually do until you've actually experienced it. You know, you can come in thinking you know what you're doing and be completely wrong. So, you know, fair play to him. He's done well.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Yeah.
And when you consider everybody else in the league is experienced with draft format, like they've got a few seasons under their belt.
Yeah.
And we've got him. Well, I've got him halfway up the table.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, he's done very, very well, and he's definitely going to be causing some headaches for teams. So.
Yeah. Now I think we agree on number 6 again.
Who have you got at 6?
I've got Sly.
Yeah, we do agree again. Hooray!
Way nice. And I need to find Sly's team on this sheet again. Start talking about him.
Okay, so Sly is another one who started very, very strong. You know, he's got Mega Altaria, Weavile, Arcanine, Roserade. You know, first 4 picks that, you know, that is, you know, well done, Sly, absolutely well done.
Yeah.
But then it kind of, like, other than the Hydreigon late on, which he got, I'm shocked that he got it as late as he did.
I know, it's
like how was that missed? But I think it was missed in TBU as well. It went oddly late.
No, I was saving it. I was waiting until I had the opportunity to get it, and then Gassy realized it was still there.
Yeah, Gassy.
God damn him.
Gassy, come on. But like his team, like 2 kind of things stand out when I look at it. Like, he's got some good cores. He's got, you know, Weavile and Mega Altaria, who are scary, but he's got a bit of an interesting kind of speed gap in his team. Like, he's got Weavile, who's very, very fast. Then he's got a couple of things kind of in the 90s, and then the team in the whole is very slow, which is going to expose him to people definitely trying to speed creep like mad. I mean, like, that gap is never a great thing to have. And then his walls on the whole lack reliable recovery. So, like, his whole core is, you know, stuff like Bronzong, Pythagoras, Sandslash, who are Lantern, who are good at what they do, but, you know, his team, I think his team is just kind of one that, looking at it, like, if you kind of hammer at it enough, he's gonna have a hard time kind of, you know, it looks like it would kind of break eventually if you just kind of keep hitting him.
Constant pressure with enough hazard support from his opponent is just going to do him in every single week. Yeah,
especially with, let's see, what hazard removal does he have? I mean, he's got Hitmontop and Sandslash, who don't like passive damage, and then he's got things like Arcanine and Weavile.
Yeah, which aren't going to appreciate a rock switching at all, especially if you're trying to run a Focus Sash Weavile, which a lot of people do because it's Weavile, it's frail.
Yeah.
But like you said, he started off incredibly well with the first 4, and then adds Hydreigon to that. It's amazing there, and then you basically covered everything I had to say about the rest of the team. He's got some Volt Turn, which is good. It can get him the momentum he's going to need while using this team. Hopefully he can pull it off. Roserade's incredible.
It is.
In format, so is Weavile, Mega Altaria. Some people argue is the best fairy.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot he can do there. And I know Sly likes to run a little bit crazy sets sometimes.
So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So on to number 5, and I think this was the point where it really became almost impossible to pick. So this is kind of what I said when I said that I might get a little bit nitpicky here. This is kind of the phase at which that's going to start happening. So
yeah, if I'd seen the nicknames before we did this, then I most probably would have had to rank them on nicknames alone because the teams are so hard to rank.
Yeah, that's it literally. So I mean, these I honestly took these last 5 and was just kind of like I'll put them there, and then we'll see how they use the teams in the next couple of weeks. So congratulations to all 5 of you. Very well done.
Yeah.
But number 5, I have got Jack, the Dawn Fanatic, and the Norwich Skitty.
And I have Shroom.
Right. So I'll start with Jack, and then because I actually have Shroom higher up, so I'll talk kind of in more detail I'll talk about Shroom when we get to where I've got him. Jack has got he's another one who started, strong, very strong. We got Megaladios, Skarmory, Florges. He's got his Dragon Steel Fairy Core covered there. Then he goes on to pick up Nidoking and then Zoroark in a team that can actually use Nidoking. Or in a team that can actually use Zoroark. You can hide it as like a Nidoking. You could hide it as a Heliolisk because, they have that shared... he has his options to play those... to play games with his ability, and then he goes and picks up Darmanitan there near the end, who just destroys souls. If I was to pick on anything about his team, if you look at his hazard control, he's got Hitmonlee, who, yes, can run Rapid Spin, but I think of the 3 Hitmon forms, kind of likes to be more offensive. I mean, it can run AV, or just leftovers or whatever, and it can Rapid Spin, but I mean it's with the access to Unburden and all that stuff, and reckless high jump kick. It's not something that which and without reliable cover he doesn't really want to. He's got Megaladios, who doesn't want to be running Defog, and then he's got Skarmory, who it likes to. I've not used it extensively in format, so I can't comment too much, but it's a mon that at least when I've used it on the ladder, you're always kind of left wanting, do I hazard stack or do I defog?
Yeah, and when it's a Pokemon that hazard stacks and its only hazard removal is defog,
yeah, it's counterproductive.
It kind of, it just goes against itself completely.
Yeah, but I mean, all in all, very, very strong draft from Jack. I noticed they let him have Heliolisk, which is going to be interesting to see if he can repeat his past success with it.
Yeah, well, he uses it better than I do, so hopefully I can take lessons.
Well, maybe Jack will offer to tutor you. You never know.
Well, I'm not paying for it.
But that's really all I've got to say about Jack. Strong draft. I can't wait to see him use it.
Yeah, Jack's a tiny bit higher for me, so I'm going to talk about Shroom.
Okay.
He started with an incredible Fairy Dragon Steel core. Latias Sylveon Mega Scizor is absolutely incredible. And I know he got sniped on 2 out of 3 of those rounds.
Yeah, and I mean, he still ended up with that core.
Yeah, so fair play to you, Shroom. Sniping usually makes your team very bad. And leaves a massive gap, but you do not have that there, so really well done to you. He's got good offensive and defensive options throughout the whole team. I genuinely think he had the first 3, he had the best first 3 overall.
Oh yeah, I don't think I can argue that.
And I'm not just saying that because Sylveon's one of them. But later on, the team kind of... There's some picks that aren't as good as how he opened again, and I know it gets to that point in the draft, but I think maybe if he tried to get an electric type a little earlier on, he wouldn't be stuck with Electabuzz, for example. And Electabuzz and Tangela are pretty much the only reason I have Shroom at 5. If it wasn't for those 2, I'd have him a lot higher. And he goes and finishes it with Noctowl, and I think he is a lord for picking that.
But I mean, we knew that about Shroom already, that he was a lord, so...
Yeah, it's just praise Shroom, mate.
Praise Shroom.
I'm excited to see him use Noctowl. I've seen him throwing some calcs out on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I've seen them as well.
I think there's going to be a lot of fun.
Specs Draco Meteor from a Mega Ray it takes. Was it something like that?
I think it's like max 96 or 98%.
Yeah,
so barring crit, it lives.
It's crazy.
Like that's a knockdown. That's something that's down in PU, for God's sake.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But that's all I have to say about Shroom, really. He had an amazing opening, and I'm sure that he's going... Even those picks that I'm saying are a bit, like, marked down. Like, the reason I marked him down, I know he's going to use them well anyway. It's just, we're splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah, we're splitting hairs. So, I will go on to my number 4 then, I guess. And I've actually got Frank and the FC Volcarona here. So, his team is scary. I'm scared looking at it, honestly. Mega Gardevoir is not a mon which I've had loads of success with, but I've seen used, and when it's used well, it just destroys souls. Starmie is an excellent pickup, not a mon which I've used to any success in draft, but a mon which, again, it gets crazy special coverage. He's built his team so it's not just locked into rapid spin, which is of course perfect. Overall he just continues long. He's got Hippowdon, gets the sand sweeper with Stoutland there. Honestly, looking at the team, the only thing that even stood out to me is like a potential, like something which I would question is I'd wonder if maybe he could have made better use of the 6 million that he spent on Poliwrath and Spinda, but then again you kind of look at the balance of his team, and actually I imagine because of what he kind of needs the water absorb a bit. And then if you look at his team, he's got a little bit of a ghost issue. So then he's got this 3 normal types to balance it out in Snorlax, Stoutland, and Spinda. So I mean, I'm judging this based on the mons which I see before me, and I mean when we've said a number of times already, we're splitting hairs here. So I mean, when I saw that, I was like, could he have maybe done better with those 2 picks? That's why I've got him here, but it's going to be completely on how he uses the team in the next couple of weeks. And like I said, I'm scared of that team. I'm frightened.
Yeah, I've got him ranked quite a bit higher, so I'm not going to talk about him just yet.
So who have you got at number 4?
I've got Jack. You said a lot about Jack, so I'm going to try and make it brief. But he opened with a Fairy Dragon Steel Core just like Shroom did. So great, they've got that core sorted. He didn't manage to get the Fire Water Grass, unfortunately.
No, he didn't.
But he's got 1 core, which is great. It's a strong core, but you've already said about Skarmory that what it does is counterproductive to itself. I'd like to think that instead of picking up Florges, he was trying to get Aromatisse, but that Shoddy sniped him.
Which is completely possible, and we'd love to know if that is actually what happened, so let us know, guys.
Please. But I know Jack loves Aromatisse, and I'm pretty sure he would have wanted it over Florges, which would have been better for the team, but hey, he was 3rd in the draft, and Shoddy got it.
Yep.
Heliolisk again, he's going to be using that incredibly well. This team is quite specially based, with the exception of like Darmanitan and Hitmonlee.
Yeah.
Mega Latios can obviously do both.
With that rogue banded Nidoking.
Yeah, because that works out so well, doesn't it?
It did work. I mean, it never hit the field, but it would have.
So does that count as working?
It didn't do badly.
True. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Jack is going to do this season, because he's improved each season, and I think he's got a better team again this season.
Oh yeah, fully agree. It's a very strong draft.
Yeah, so you literally covered everything else I'd want to say, so I'm just going to leave it there on Jack.
Cool. So I will jump up to my number 3, where I have got Fu and the Newcastle United.
Oh, so do I.
Oh, we agree.
Way.
So his team, again, this is another one that this is a very, you see the likes of Tyrantrum and Talonflame together, and it's just like, where are the switch-ins?
Yeah.
You see the likes of Gorgeist, who is, I think, underrated to an extent
Very.
in draft format. You see Mega Blastoise. I love Mega Blastoise. You're a hero for picking that up. It's a very, very strong team.
We have to address the elephant in the room when it comes to Fu's draft, though.
Oh, you mean the first and third round selections?
Yes, I do. I think that all you other PPL coaches, you need to get in a room together and you need to give each other a good punch in the jaw. How the hell did you let the god of hacks get Jirachi and Togekiss?
Yeah, y'all done screwed up.
Like, what did you do, guys? It's gonna end badly for you. You know what what Fu does, and it's going to be bad for you. So, if you're gonna complain about losing to hacks, you brought this upon yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys asked for it, so you're just gonna have to deal with it now.
Yeah, but like you said, he's got incredibly hard hitters, and he's just going to be able to rip teams open.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some, Jolteon, who's the nice momentum. He's got Nidoqueen, who's got a bunch of different options. I mean, this is another one where I have to nitpick to get into anything which even looks remotely kind of And I mean, the only thing that jumps out at me is his lack of kind of special bulk. But then again, he's got things like Jirachi, which you can run, especially defensive. And, an overall very, very solid team. I think he needed the Mega Blastoise to have a second option for hazard removal to support the Talonflame. Because I've used it in draft before, and it's just like, it's one of those mons that, because its hardest hitting moves are recoil moves, if you're gonna just run, you can't really run the Banded set without hazard control, and then you don't want to be in a situation where you're having to bring kind of the same two mons just to bring Talonflame.
Yeah, like I've had I'm reading off the sheet. I've had Victini and Talonflame on the same draft, and you do need a lot of hazard control for it, otherwise you're just screwed. But Talonflame's amazing in draft. I think it's very underappreciated, and it gets used wrong a lot in draft format. Stormbreaker sets shut down people like Kelly, no problem.
Yeah, and you've always got options like I ran Natural Gift Water against Gabe's Heatran in the playoffs, which worked wonders.
It did. You just destroyed it. But yeah, Sam's got an amazing draft, and literally my 1, 2, and 3, I struggled to rank these guys.
Yeah, I did too. Honestly, it was a game of kind of putting them all on like a dartboard and just kind of chucking darts and going, okay, you're 1, you're 2, you're 3 for this particular round.
But yeah, that means our number 2s are different.
Yeah, I think we actually differ the rest of the way. So do you want to discuss your number 2?
Yeah, I've got Frank at number 2. I absolutely love his draft. Starmie's amazing in draft format. You can run a lot of different items on it and surprise a lot of people. He's got Mega Gardevoir, which just, I can't remember, who did we just pick up on that has a weak special defense? Was it Sam?
It was Sam's team.
Sam. Yeah, Mega Gardevoir just wrecks his team. Like straight up, it just destroys his team.
Yeah, the combination of Fairy and Psychic, he's got like 1 switch in.
Yeah, and then for that switch in, he's got Entei chilling over in the back. Yeah. Show me what switches into Mega Gardevoir. A
nice round
and
6 Entei.
It's crazy. He's got a really well constructed draft.
He does.
I absolutely love it, and I kind of wanted to put him in number 1, but this is where I kind of had a fight with myself and was like, he got Spinder.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're not a massive fan of the Poliwrath pick, but I really do think he needed the Water Absorb.
Yeah.
And all the other good Water Absorbers had gone by then.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, I haven't looked at the Mons which were still available at the time. I mean, if that really was his best choice, then fair play. I mean, it just kind of... Poliwrath obviously does a lot of cool things, but you'd ideally want to see it with some something that wasn't manual rain. But then again, like I said, I haven't looked at kind of what was available, and admittedly, I've been working a lot of long days, and I hadn't been keeping tabs quite as closely as I should have on the draft. And so I don't really know what was available there, but if it was the best thing that he had available at the time, Poliwrath is a great mon. So it's just we'll have to see how it works out for him.
Yeah. I just want to finish off by saying I absolutely applaud Frank on this draft.
Oh,
it is amazing.
It's a beautiful draft, and honestly, it's like, it's scary. If I was in the league and I was trying to plan for him, I'd be sat here having a headache.
Yeah, I'd just go cry in the corner in the fetal position.
I mean,
I want his draft.
It's
like, I want to use
so
it.
scary. But yeah, on to my number 2.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is Trav. These last two, again, it was
You sucking up, cough.
not at all, and I'll explain those selections in a bit. Explain my reasons when we get to number 1. But it was putting people on a dartboard and just kind of deciding what order I'd place them in. He starts off Latios, excellent dragon in this form selection, and great round 1, and he's got Excadrill and Tyranitar, so he's got that sand option, which is scary. I've been planning for it this week in TBU, and sand Excadrill it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it is.
Mega Audino, I applaud you, Trav, for taking Mega Audino.
Do you see what he's done, Eric? He's got a team that needed Mega Audino.
Well, and see, it works very, very nicely, because the one complaint I would have about his draft, and the only reason he is number 2, is because if you look at his defensive options, he's got 2. Tangrowth is something that I've been using in TBU, and it's got poor natural special defense. It wants to be, you kind of end up running an assault vest on it a lot of the time.
And it's still not great.
And it's still not great. And then Slowbro, who, although I think has decent special defense, again, kind of leans more toward the physical side. So you end up in a situation where you've got Mega Audino, who obviously is fat, and Tyranitar, who can be fat in the sand. And so it's just like, that is legitimately the only reason he's number 2, because there's that one thing that kind of I saw there. But again, incredibly strong draft.
Yeah, I've got him as my number 1, so I may as well talk about him now.
Go ahead.
I think he has got maybe the best draft overall, and is certainly the one that jumps out at me as my favorite. I really struggled between having him and Frank as number 1.
Yeah.
I think he's just got the slight edge because he has Latios, Excadrill, and Tyranitar.
Yeah.
And he's got the sand support for Excadrill. Excadrill is one of the top 5 Pokemon in draft format.
Completely.
Then he's got Emboar just chilling over there. What's the switching?
Don't ignore Emboar.
And Emboar can also run some special moves quite well, aka Scald.
Yep.
And if you've been watching TBU, then you would have seen Gabe use a defensive Emboar very well. And I'm pretty sure Trav might want to try that at some point.
It's entirely possible.
I don't know how it happened, but they let him have most of the OU tier.
Yeah, actually, because he's got what? Yeah, they did. They let him have most of the OU tier. Well done, guys.
Yeah, the really good Pokemon from
Thunderous
OU.
Eyes there too. I completely neglected to see Thunderous Eye there.
Yeah, which just causes headaches.
Yeah.
You've got a ground type and you want to stop his momentum. Oh wait, it gets U-turn.
Yeah, and then Thunderous actually kind of destroys some of the few things that want to try to take on Excadrill. So there's that.
Yeah. I think that his Mega Audino pick was perfect for his
Mega
team.
Audino was perfect. You guys, you heard it here first.
Not that Mega Audino is an amazing Pokemon, but not that it's a bad Pokemon either. It's just it fits well on teams, and then it doesn't fit well on teams, Eric.
Well,
so when Shroom drafted it last season, it fit well on his team.
Yeah.
When Trav drafted it this season, it fits well on his team. But it didn't fit well on your team, buddy.
No, it goes by that whole draft. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, actually we should, because you were losing back then.
Yeah.
Anyway, but back to the PPL. It's okay, Shoddy and Shroom do PPL stuff in TBU videos.
Yeah, so it's fine.
Yeah. Well done, Trav. Seriously, good job, mate.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly impressed.
Yeah, this was another one. I have to take my hat off. The excellent draft. And even, that last pick of Quillfish. Quillfish does some really interesting things and should be fun to use in draft.
Definitely. Now we can hear Eric's reasons on why he should be #1 in TBU power rankings.
No, my reason for why I should be #1 in TBU power rankings was the last pick in my LBA draft.
I don't know what you drafted.
Parasite.
Oh, well, oh yeah, okay, so you're bribing him there as well. Okay, sorry.
Okay, right. Shroom. On to Shroom. Shroom is my #1, and that is primarily because I think my opinion of his later selections of Electabuzz and Tangela differs, because I've seen calcs and I've seen them do things. Electabuzz actually, is capable of is capable of putting out a surprising amount of damage, and I know he got sniped a number of times there because I was discussing it with him kind of as the draft was going on, but I think he's done really well there. I mean, Tangela is it's in some ways I almost it's got I think its special attack stat, I'd need to look it up, is actually base 100, so very, very workable.
No, I think it's base 50.
Base 50. Is it the attack then? One of them is quite high.
One of them is decently high, yeah. It's not amazingly high.
No, it's not amazingly high, but for a wall,
it's not a base 100.
It's workable. I'm looking it up now because I need to know this.
Basically.
Its special attack is base 100.
It is?
It's base 100.
Wow.
I mean, that is very, very usable.
Wow, okay. I'm a scrub.
A little bit.
Carry on.
This is why I have Sherman at #1. As you said, the only reason you had him as low as you did was because you weren't a fan of those two picks, whereas I like those picks a lot. He started off with Latias, Sylveon, Megasizor. I can't think of, especially given that, as you say, he was sniped in 2 out of those 3 rounds, I can't think of a much better way he could have started the draft.
No, I can't.
And then he's got things like Crocodile, who does a lot of cool things. Stab Knockoff is great. Jellicent, underrated in draft. Blaziken, I've always wanted to see used, and the list just kind of continues. I mean, this, like I said, before, I really got nitpicky with some of these teams, and it's just coming from the personal stuff that I like to use. I cannot easily fault Shroom's draft at all.
No,
and that is why I have him at #1.
Yeah, we know that's not the only reason, but
it's why I have him at #1. You can
Sure
suggest it all you like, but that's why
sure
I have him
buddy.
at #1.
You convince yourself over there.
I have. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so that wraps it up, right?
It does indeed, because you've already spoken about your #1. So,
I have.
Yeah, there are your post-draft power rankings. So I believe the first round of uploads are due on the
6th of February for Division 1.
For Division 1, so look out for those. All the important links will be down in the description, I'm sure. Coaches' channels, all that good stuff.
You can't say down because Sis will kill you.
Really? He's probably going to kill me, though, because I already said it if he watches this.
Yeah,
well,
he doesn't like it when you say down below.
Okay, well, the coaches' channels and all that important information will be in the description. And and we will be back in roughly a week's time to discuss what should hopefully be a very interesting first round of results.
Hopefully.
Will be.
Yes, it will be. It definitely will be. Let's convince ourselves.
Well, it will be. There's so many good drafts and seasoned, players in this league that I cannot think that it's going to be anything but entertaining.
No, and of course these were our opinions. These are not facts.
Of course.
Practically anything we said has not been a fact, unless we're talking about a Pokemon's stats or whatever.
Like Tangela's base special attack.
Yeah. So if you don't agree with our opinions, that's absolutely fine, and you can let us know in the comment section.
If you think we're completely mental and don't know what we're on about, you can let us know. That's fine. We won't take offense. We promise.
Yeah, we won't, honestly. Yeah, so let us know what you thought. Give us your rankings of the 12 teams. You would have had a more in-depth analysis of the teams, like I said earlier, with Ethan and Baby Powder. So it's why we kept it quite brief on them.
Yep.
Yeah, so watch all the videos.
Yep.
And
we'll see you
bye-bye.
next time, guys. Bye-bye.